morning, Myrtle Beach. You're at the right place at the right time. Thank you for joining us again this week.
Well, if you missed last week's show, our topics were divorce, remarriage, gold diggers, debt, divesting, and downsizing. That was last week's show. If you missed that, you can go to our YouTube page and at Does It Chase Investment Group at YouTube and check that show out. It was actually pretty interesting, especially the gold diggers part.
Yeah, we had a good time with that show.
We had a good time with the show. And there are other past shows are there also, so you can take a look at those.
Yeah.
And this morning we got 2 Facebook page lives going, so if you want to see our beautiful faces, you can check into our Facebook pages and watch the show from there. And what else?
Well, let's get started with this week's market brief. It's brought to you by Max Neubauer of Gateway Mortgage.
Yeah, thanks, Max. Max was a guest on the show 2 weeks ago, I believe.
Yes,
did a great job, and though I still have not been invited over to his house for his wife's awesome spaghetti and meatball dinner that I was promised. I got a picture. I got a picture of it.
Oh, that was nice.
Maybe he was just telling me something. I don't know there. So what do we got? We got last week's mortgage report that last week's market report we covered was mostly consensus reports. Not a whole lot was going on. Friday was the oil rig count was on Friday. Yep, bigger, huge rig count. And it was not a big deal. It was only 2 rigs down for them. But the U.S. rig count overall was up by 5 rigs. So which obviously we know as the more rigs are out there, the more oil we're producing, and less rigs, the less oil we're producing into barrels. So with being down 2 and up 5, I believe that comes out to a +3 still. Yeah, it's early, but my math is usually pretty good.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's a tough one. 5 from 3 or 2 or whatever it is. But anyways, it's a tough one. And so I'm still wondering why we're a little high at the gas prices still here in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And not probably just Myrtle Beach, but completely across the country, everybody's still a little high. And that starts with the gouging word, I guess.
Yeah.
Still taking advantage of it, you know.
What's it, 40 cents too high?
What are we at now, Ray? We're 254, 245.
Yep.
Yeah. So somewhere in that ballpark. All right. So
this week's market report: President Trump releases plan for tax reform this week, which is expected to stimulate economic growth. A hotter economy could contribute to higher rates.
I thought we weren't talking politics on the show.
We're not.
Who wrote this? Who wrote this? That's what I thought. I was watching the college football last night because I'm boycotting the NFL. I'm going to say it. I'm just boycotting the NFL, and I'm not. I don't have a problem with what they're trying to get across to people. I'm just I have a problem with how they're doing it.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is there. But yes, so if the economy gets hotter, warmer, or extremely boiling hot, usually that means that the interest rates are going to go up because the Fed wants to control that.
Yeah.
Again, they want to control something. So, but we'll see. Trump, every time he turns around, he runs into something, or runs into somebody who's trying to thwart his capabilities of getting things done, So we'll see what happens with that.
The economy grew a bit faster than previously estimated in the second quarter, with GDP of 3.5%. Consumer spending was also strong for the second quarter.
Yeah, well, that's all good news. It means the economy is starting to move up, and again, that's why I believe, just possibly, I know I said this before, I didn't think it would happen, but we might see a little hike right before the end of the year. We'll see. I'm still holding out that it won't happen until after the holidays.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Home prices are still on the rise, with Case-Shiller reporting increase of 5.9% in July. Strong demand and tight inventory continues to drive up prices.
Yes. So Case-Shiller, though, for folks that don't know, Case-Shiller actually covers the when they give out their numbers, it's normally for the whole nation, not just a specific market or anything.
Okay.
So so I watch Case-Shiller, but I take it also with a grain of salt because There's a lot of areas I don't really care to be in, so I only watch the ones that I'm interested in.
Right.
So just, but they usually put out good reports, and we're seeing prices go up. We own a Chase Signature Homes, a building company. We're actually don't even have inventory of spec homes right now. We're just sold our last one, and so we're trying to get some more built very quickly. And so things are definitely going up. Not just house prices, but land prices are going up too.
Yes, they
across the board. We got a lot of calls in this past week from people in Illinois, Connecticut. I'm trying to think who else called us. Forget now. Long Island, and they all are interested in getting down here and buying a piece of land. And the biggest question was, can I wait a year before I build? Because they know land prices are going up, and it makes a huge difference. So,
yeah, you're right.
Yep.
What about the rest of this week?
So it's a little bit more exciting this week. We have Tuesday, we have the motor vehicle sales, and our guest that we have in today, he probably can talk about that. He used to be a car guy himself, but then again, he's probably out of tune with that stuff because that was way back in his past, and so he's probably not up to date on that stuff. But on Wednesday is the EIA Petroleum Status Report again. That's basically kind of every week. Yeah, they either do a consensus or an actual report, one of the two. Thursday is the same thing, natural gas report again. And then on Friday is obviously the rig count again. So hopefully we'll see the rig count go up. And then if it does, then it takes about a month to get the oil to the storage, and we should see the volume of oil and natural gas go up, or the oil go up, and we should see the prices come back down again.
That would be nice. I know we're waiting for that.
Yeah, we're waiting. We like it. Everybody likes it when the gas goes cheaper, and they get to spend more. They get
That's
to buy.
right. The holidays are coming up. They need to spend their money on something else other than
right. Or sometimes they get up early in the morning because they need to buy something online at an auction, and so they get up really early to do that, so that nobody has any. They don't have any competition that way, and they just snipe it. They sniper. It's called sniping. So something new we thought we would do this morning, Julie, is talk about what's coming up in Myrtle Beach. Actually,
promote
a few things in Myrtle Beach. So I believe tomorrow, October 1st.
No,
today's October 1st. So today through the 7th is Fall Bike Week. So make sure everybody either stays off the road or get your bikes out and get down to the Myrtles Inlet area where most of the activity happens and see what's going on.
Should be a good time.
Should be a good time. Our good friend
Jasmine
and Kevin, her husband, will be in this week playing at Suck Bang Blow. They're actually going to be doing their first album from Suck Bang Blow this week.
Really?
So that should be very exciting for them. I'll let you say that one.
Bogtoberfest.
Yeah. and I believe that's this afternoon, and that's going to be at the House of Blues.
Chefs from across the Grand Strand will be bringing their best chicken bog.
Chicken bog. When I think of bog, I think of like bogging,
boggy grog,
mud and 4-wheel drive, and everybody by 4 o'clock in the afternoon is drunk and can't stand up. That's what I think about. So October 6th is Pawleys Island's Festival of Music and Art, and that'll be at the Reserve Golf Club. And then also on the 6th is the Myrtle Beach Seafood Festival at Ocean Boulevard.
Yeah, that will be good.
That should be yummy, actually.
For the Lexi's like, no.
We have one daughter-in-law here. I don't know if you can see her through this obstacle of stuff, but she is not a seafood fan. Well, it depends on how you take the term seafood. If it's S-E-E, she's a big fan. If it's S-E-A, she's not a big fan of it at all. So, but hey, even she gets right out there, works out, does the whole 9 yards, so she can eat as much as she wants.
That's
folks.
right.
That's
right. All right, we're going to take a short break and come back with our special guest, Ray Antonino from PermitZone.
I want some chicken bog and some seafood right now. I don't know about you guys.
Can we get somebody to deliver?
I'm hungry at the moment.
So, okay, we're all now on that. Okay.
With more more than 17 years experience, Chase Signature Homes delivers
And don't say,
high-quality
okay, this is
craftsmanship
where I
on your
promote.
lot or on theirs. Each member of the team brings a unique set of skills, but they all have one common interest: the passion for home
Who
building
we got on?
and a
Anybody else?
commitment to the homeowner. With online
Kathy,
client access, you'll
I think
love
was
building
on
your
that
new
one.
home. All the details
Hey,
of your
Kathy.
custom home during construction are
Art
right at your
Cruz?
fingertips. Chase
Watching
Signature
right
Homes
here.
looks forward to serving
Art?
you.
Art
Call
Green?
today
Or
at
Art-
843-839-1006.
No, Art Cruz.
Art Cruz. How you doing, Art Cruz? Where you chiming in from, Art?
At ChaseSignatureHomes.com. That's ChaseSignatureHomes.com. Do you want to give your home a
When she
fresh,
shoot
newly
Rick
remodeled
gave me
look without
to say
spending
his last
thousands
name.
of dollars to remodel?
Antonino.
Did you see me look down?
Have you just moved into a home and come to the realization you didn't like the previous owner's taste and
Yeah,
color
do you have
schemes?
Facebook?
Give it a fresh coat of
We,
paint.
PermitZone.
Was the last time you
Yeah.
painted a
Try to
unit
find
started
you,
in
'cause that's
19?
PermitZone.
Yep,
Yep.
time for a
Because she
fresh coat of paint.
shares all that
But
stuff
don't
while
trust
we're
that paint job
talking
to
about
Perfect.
it.
Yeah,
anyone.
if you'll
Call
do the
Straight
app PermitZone,
Edge
it'll be
Painting.
there.
At Straight Edge
And
Painting,
about
no
30 seconds.
job
Twitter's
is
the
too
same
big
way,
or
but I've
too
been
small.
tweeting already.
From individual
Okay,
rooms to
I've already
entire
pushed them
houses,
to my
Straight Edge
channels.
Painting
Okay,
will
I
get the
better
job
actually
done
keep this
and
open
get it
so
done right.
I got your
Call
hashtag
today
NoBull
for a
Money
free
Hour.
estimate
There
at
you go.
315-871.
Now I need that to discern between
Have
NoBull,
you wanted to
because
get
that'll
your
be just
home
filled up full of
professionally
a bunch
painted
of other
before
things.
That's
you
true
can
too.
afford it?
Yeah,
You can.
true too.
Give it a
Yeah.
fresh coat of
You might be
paint
able to get
with
away with
Straight
NoBull
Edge
Money. I
Painting.
haven't looked up the
Call
hash to
JC
see
today at Straight
if
Edge
a lot of
Painting
people have
or
bumped in
look
on
them up
that,
on
but if they
Facebook.
haven't,
Feel
then
free
it
to
makes
call
it
in and
smaller.
talk with Sid and Julie at
Or
843-839-9950. It's the No Bull Money Hour with Sid
Well, they
and
just-
Julie Chase.
Welcome back, Myrtle Beach. Yeah, if you want to call in, 843-839-9950. Call in with any questions.
Right, or we're all hungry if there's anybody out there in the immediate area that can deliver to WRNN, and I believe we're at 1016 Ocala.
Ocala Street.
Ocala?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That-
So if anybody's nearby, please bring anything, bagels, donuts, it doesn't really matter at this point. And
Well,
Go ahead, Dave.
the Greek festival's still going on as well.
That's
so
right.
you can get like some gyros and
Oh,
some,
I love
baklava,
Greek food.
Spanakopita. You can bring
And-
that by over here.
Yeah.
Jazz festival's going on.
we're only here till 9:30, so don't procrastinate,
Okay, yeah.
please. Yeah. All right, so let's do a little promotion for the Sid Chase Investment Group real
Yes.
quick. So if you're looking to get started into real estate, either you've done one or two deals, or maybe you haven't done any deals at all, get a hold of us. We can get you started. Sit down and have a quick consultation on Skype or over the phone, or if you're here in Myrtle Beach, we can do it in person, and just see where you're at. What do you have? What have you already got done? So do you have your base built up yet before you get started in investing in real estate? And we can get you going.
That's right. All right, we're going to talk to our special guest now, Ray Antonino
Well, welcome aboard.
from
Hey,
PermitZone.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm a little disappointed this morning.
Why?
The other half is sleeping in. I hope she's watching somewhere or listening
No,
somewhere.
she's sleeping
I
in.
saw a tweet go out, so
Yeah.
She's at least awake this
she's
morning.
awake. Yeah,
Good
yeah.
morning,
Yeah.
Rebecca.
Yeah, I miss you at least. I don't know about anybody else, but I know I miss you. All right, so tell us a little bit about where you're originally from.
Originally from Akron, Ohio, and moved down here in '07 for construction, the big construction boom that was occurring. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, we were in New York during that time,
Yes.
upstate New York, and so you were born and raised in Akron?
Yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised?
Yeah.
And so did you get like we did I'm trying to think, Akron's kind of in the northern part?
Yeah, just south of Cleveland.
Did you get that snowball? You got the snowball
Oh, yeah,
stuff
yeah.
then if you're in Cleveland.
Yep.
Music Hall of Fame? No, Rock and Roll Hall
Rock
of
and
Fame.
Roll.
is in
Well, that's
Cleveland.
Cleveland, yeah.
Right.
And then we have just south of Akron is the Canton Football Hall of Fame.
Oh,
So
nice.
we have quite a few things there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Okay.
nice.
And background, just a little bit. What did you do, before? What, did you? I did a little background. I've known you for a little bit now, so I know you kind of were in the building construction thing, and I want to kind of go back a little bit farther than that. I believe you sold some cars.
Yep.
And some other things, and you were a CEO of another company, I believe also. So just elaborate on, say, I know you went to Coastal Carolina.
Correct?
Right, so kind of a little bit before that, and then what got you to Coastal, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so at a high level, just Akron kid, went early on, went into the military Army Reserves, and came out, bought a house, and started a car dealership like anyone else would do, right? So I was 20 and I got started with my own dealership, a small independent lot. Grew quite significantly for about 3 years, and by year 7, pretty much lost everything. And then from there, I went into a 3-year lull, trying to find myself, and was very fortunate to get an opportunity to come down here for the big boom. Big, large builder in the area, actually a nationwide builder, gave me an opportunity to be a project manager. So gave me a whole new leash.
And you had no experience.
Zero.
At construction at all.
Yeah. I'll never forget the HR manager when I came in for the interview. I had a connection that at least got me in the door, but I never forget the interview where the interviewers, she just said, "You're going to be great at this. You're gonna be overseeing 100 some contractors, 20 some homes at any given point." And I said, "I don't know what part of this interview I led you to believe I know the first thing of construction." And she said, "You're going to do well," and she was right. I fell in love with it.
And that's the background of most entrepreneurs. You really, I mean, even though you got it was a job for you, and it really wasn't entrepreneurship. But I'm going back to the car thing. That sometimes we just jump into stuff because an opportunity pops up, and we teach ourselves how to do it. And we've done that plenty of times in our lives. So after then you went to CCU.
Yeah,
you were going to CCU
I wasn't smart enough to do it early on. I waited 14 years, so I completely missed the free money that the military offered.
Right. Don't feel bad. I did too.
So I went back. I actually had to go through quite a challenging experience to get back in to school, because my grades from early on were so low that they wanted to make sure that I was ready for it. And so I was paying per class into the 3rd year, and then just business took off, so I had to take a small hiatus from school, but definitely something I can't wait to get back and finish and complete. But yeah, it was a great experience. I was able to apply everything. Literally, I would learn economics or finance or whatever my classes were, go right into my business right after I left class, and apply it instantly.
Beautiful.
So I'm assuming that even though you didn't finish, right, or you did finish?
No, I have not finished yet.
But you finished enough, because now you really jumped off the deep end. I mean, you weren't even. He didn't even do that from a diving board, folks. He went to like the highest cliff that he could find in the country. No, let me redo that. In the world, maybe Brazil or something like that, where they dive off cliffs, and you just jumped straight into basically a tech startup, right?
Yeah.
But my point there is that I think some of those financial classes that you took, economic classes, accounting classes, helped you in this phase, because when you do a tech startup, or any really kind of startup, especially a tech startup, you got a nickel and dime.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, everything's got to be with a long-term purpose. Yeah, no, I think a combination of failure from the prior business, along with understanding what I needed to be focused on for future business, really is why I made the best of the school situation. But yeah, I was fortunate with this big builder to have been exposed to technology, how it was deployed in the field, and I was the person that when they deployed that technology here locally, I was the center point of all the inbound data. So I got to see how it brought value to the field, and so yeah, when I fast forward and started my own construction company, I deployed technology immediately, day one.
So you got yourself here.
Yep.
And got the job with the national builder. I know who you're talking about, but we won't bring the name up.
Yep.
And then
great company.
Yeah.
I like them. I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. They got great people. They do. There's a lot of great people
Absolutely.
in that company, and we'll just leave it at that. So that was that tech started, that you learned from them, kind of started getting you going in that direction. I don't think it did, actually, because you went from there and you kind of started your own construction firm.
Yeah, 7 years, 6.5 years.
So you did that, and mostly handyman stuff, additions. What were you doing?
Home additions, remodels. That was our primary focus. We got into Americans with Disability compliance type construction specifically. But yeah, being able to see how technology helped big companies, and trying to identify ways that it could help small company, helped us to grow rather rapidly. We had partnered with a national chain where you would go and you'd get windows, siding, decking, doors, fences, things like that. And your wife will probably get flowers today there. We would partner with a company like that, and within 7 months we were supporting 26 of their locations in 3 states. But it was all through technology. Rebecca and I ran the entire thing from within our home, and we hired no additional people to manage that. So
Very
Rebecca
nice.
was running it.
well, true.
Gotta give credit where credit's due, brother.
I'll tell you,
I mean, I
some
love you
great
to death,
pictures.
but I gotta, even though she's not here this morning, I still gotta give her some kudos, right? So what on the tech side things, we
Yeah.
got through your history, your past history.
Yep.
Kind of, you and I have a lot of common like that, with jumping from one thing to the next and building up that, what I call that base, those stepping stones to get to where we really wanted to be. Sometimes we know that, and sometimes we don't know where we're going to be. And I believe you didn't realize where you were going when you were working for the construction
Completely.
company.
Yeah.
Had what you're doing now.
Nowhere near on the radar.
Right.
Didn't know where.
Exactly.
Nowhere.
Exactly. And so, what was that?
What
What
kind
was
of
that
took me back?
aha moment? That the light bulb turned on?
Yeah. That
Or was it Rebecca's light bulb that turned on?
No, it was actually so what we had done that we had contracted to build a application to run our business on, period. And it was a young fellow we had met in a local co-working space here, who later went on to become my co-founder, Adam. But we just wanted something to run our business efficiently. There weren't a lot of options out there. When we had built that, it was once we released it to this large corporation that I talked about with the 26 locations we were supporting. One of the sales agents one day called because we had removed a little button on it that we had given them access to, and there was this one little button where they could perform a quick lookup on an address, and it would yield whether or not it needed a permit, the project that they were selling, so that they knew whether or not to charge for one. So we just took the button down. It was kind of in the way, and we thought, let's clean up the app a little bit, and since we're trying to redesign it. And when I started getting calls, not only from this one salesperson but others, saying, hey, I'm out in front of this customer's home, I need to know if there's a permit that's needed, and what I need to know, and it was like panic mode, and I'm like, well, how the heck would I know? And I found out then that they were actually using the application for that purpose, when it was actually designed for me to do that lookup, so that I could give that back to the store and say, you need to charge for a permit. So that was kind of the original aha, there might be something here. If a store associate for an associate that of 2,000 plus stores could find value, then there might be value in a greater market. So
Right.
That was kind of the
Right.
aha.
And that's a lot how most of the time that's how it all starts for entrepreneurs. It's you're doing your thing and you're thinking outside your box, and then all of a sudden the light goes on, or somebody says something to you, and later that night you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with I've got it, and then what?
Well, totally.
Then the vision.
That's well.
So then you got to create the vision in your head of what it's going to be.
I'd say that, I'd say you really, it didn't work out quite that way because I didn't know what it was, really.
Well, you didn't.
What I really needed was resources.
Right, right. And the reason
mentorship.
I'm kind of being the way I am with this is because I know where we're going.
Yeah.
So, but you had to have a vision.
Yeah, I mean, I
You
just
had a
believe.
vision of what you were going to do.
Here's what I knew. I knew something more so than a vision. I knew that access to a uniformed access to permitting requirements should be there, right?
Right.
With two questions: what am I doing, and where am I doing it? I should be able to know information, and simple as that. But when you look at 19,655 building departments, and not a one of them does anything the same way. And for that matter, not even knowing what building department you fall under, that's the real challenge. And that's where I knew there was opportunity. I didn't quite understand how to develop that.
Most people don't even know where to go vote, let alone know where to go get a permit. I mean, they always change the voting locations, it seems to me. Every year I vote. We've been here 7 years, and I think only 2 of those years, 3 maybe tops, we voted in the same place.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a little weird how they move things around a little bit. But, so, go ahead.
May have been because you moved.
Yeah.
Or I just
Slightly.
showed up,
Because mine's
or
been
maybe
in
I
the
just
same
showed
place.
up at the
Yeah.
wrong place. That's possible
Even though you
too.
didn't move too far from the other location, if you're on the other side of a street, it changes your voting location completely.
Right.
Just like permits.
That's a good point there, just like doing a permit.
Just
you're
like
right.
permits, right?
Exactly. So basically for me, being a business person, basically what you just explained, you had the aha moment, and then you kind of start creating the vision of of what is this all going to kind of look like in the beginning.
Right.
Right. And then after your vision, in the aha moment, you have your visions, and then all of a sudden you go, okay, now I need a strategy. So my strategy, or our strategy, when we look at new businesses or whatever it is, or a new company, for example, we always start where do we want to be in 10 years and work ourselves backwards.
Yeah.
So for you had to put your strategy in place at that point, and how were you doing it?
Yeah, well, it's probably important to realize that it didn't come quite as quickly as I made it sound. Originally we were a task management tool that we had built with this unique compliance piece that had been built in so as to identify when a permit was needed. We were fortunate that at a time in the future we were able to gain some mentorship that really helped us to discern what made us unique, what made us different, and when we focused on that, we realized it was purely this permitting play and not a task management play that has this unique permitting compliance piece. Basically, the difference between being in a red ocean with 200, 300 competitors or a blue ocean with none, and having little windows. So with that, we identified that there was a real need. The key to all this really comes down to mentorship and how we were able to break out of the local the bandwidth that was here for being able to get us to certain levels, and then to learn what it really meant to be a true technology startup, because I didn't even know what that was.
I still don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that
Yeah,
for me.
yeah,
I'm not a tech guy
Yeah,
at all. I mean,
it doesn't surprise me.
You
Horry
found
County.
me.
What's that?
You found me at a tech startup
Yep.
thing here in Myrtle Beach,
Yep.
and I was like a fish out of water, and you came up and kind of saved me and said, "Here, this is who you need to talk to, and this is what are you doing here?" Is what you said. You don't belong here. So, but who was that? Who, if you don't mind saying who it was, or where they were from as a company? Who was that first mentor for you for the startup?
Yeah, so Mike Schroll here locally, he was with the co-working space called Cowork MYR, which Paul Reynolds had originally established. And yeah, it was right here in Myrtle Beach. It was a wonderful space just across from BB&T down there off of 21st.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very fortunate to have stumbled onto this group. Got to meet some great people. They had understood it. They had come down. Mike specifically had come from Boston, and he was part of a program called TechStars at one point early on. And TechStars is an accelerator program. You hear accelerators.
Or fire?
Yeah, right. So incubators and accelerators, we hear about them all over, and every town in America now has one, and they're the best that they believe. But essentially, TechStars and Y Combinator and 500 Startups are really the original three incubators that really started. It's like saying Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. They're the best of the best. And he had come out of one of those, which brought a good deal of value locally to people that wanted to participate and learn. So that was kind of my initial start, and then it took off from there. And I leveraged some of the military for other opportunities to gain the additional mentorship that was needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did the same thing when I was in for military. Yeah, I did the same.
Well,
for me, it was speaking. I becoming the drill sergeant.
Yep.
You do well. We don't really speak. We yell.
Yeah.
But the new drill sergeant now speaks. They don't yell anymore, really, per se.
Yeah, we won't go there.
Yeah.
So we had a bunch of speaking classes that I had to take, and how to teach classes, and we had to do it within certain time periods and things like that. So that was all good. So if I want to start a business in the tech world, is completely different than from starting brick and mortars.
Yes.
Basically,
yes.
Your standard.
Well, I've had two brick and mortars.
Mm-hmm.
One being serviced and one true traditional brick and mortar, and then the third being a tech startup, and it's fundamentally different. It's I don't even know where to begin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
It's fundamentally different.
Right. Right.
And that's why you see these young kids that come out of. I say young kids. I'm getting old. God, I'm 41 and everyone's younger than me. But when you see these these college students coming out and you hear the stories of them taking on companies that are worth 20, 30, 40 million, and you're like, how is that possible? It's really hard to make the connection as to what the heck that really means. when you come from the world of brick and mortar and traditional service-based business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And would you say that tech startups are usually less expensive to do than a brick and mortar startup, or a normal company startup?
Well, so
I don't need a building necessarily.
True. I would say less expensive in some ways, but your greatest capital is your people, because you're going to pay for well-qualified people. So, an engineer, let's say the person who actually makes the app work, right? Or in that app, when you pull out your phone and you use an application, those people that design it so that it's intuitive, and those people that actually build it so that it actually works and functions correctly, they are not cheap. They can get into the mid hundreds a year in salary. So that's a significant expense. The thing that I might say to the cost is it's a little different. I think the fundamental difference is this: you start a brick and mortar with debt, right? Because you go and you borrow friends, family, and they lend you money, and you probably have interest, and you have this payment that's due immediately, or maybe in the very near future. With technology startup, it's completely different. You either bootstrap it yourself, or you raise capital and give away equity in your company. So you're not operating from a position of debt, which is very different. That fundamental difference there.
Right.
I would never, ever open a business ever again in my entire life under the debt structure, ever. But making the transition from that thought process to another it takes a while.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And most of our businesses that we started were bootstrapped, but now that when we got into the bigger businesses, more intense, I guess, more equipment intense, then we started with that. You don't have much choice about it.
You don't have a choice, right?
Right, you don't have much choice about it.
Two businesses.
Yeah. So what about PermitZone?
Yeah.
Let's just go into that a little bit. Tell us not where it's heading now, because I know that's kind of different from what you originally thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
So what did you originally think PermitZone was going to do for everybody, or for yourself?
Well, so first I'll just share with people listening. PermitZone, I give the 20-second pitch. PermitZone helps contractors and do-it-yourselfers to get construction permits online, nationwide. But more importantly, we're providing a service for large corporations that need the insights into whether or not those permits have been pulled on behalf of those contractors that perform work for you. So that's really our business in a nutshell. Coming back to your question of where we are today, do you want to know a little bit about the past, or?
Sure.
Yeah. So we originally went to market thinking that we would help local municipalities by providing free software, and we would just make a small piece of the cut, and they could facilitate getting permits. I mentioned earlier 19,600 plus building departments. 87% do not offer online permitting. How ridiculous is that? I mean, we're in the 21st century, and you can transfer money all over the globe, but you can't get a permit online. And they create some of the craziest barbaric processes. And I wanted to break that down. So to do so, I thought, let's give this for free, and then just take a very small convenience fee for each transaction. And that went over like a lead balloon. So then we went to the market and said, okay, well, surely the little contractors like myself at one point who understand time, that they're gonna value this. They really are. That this, we had adjusted our cost structure and so forth, and that went over south as well. Come to find out, small guys tend to build in what we would call soft costs associated with, hey, I've kind of figured out the hack, so to speak, as to how to get my permits a little quicker. Or that I've just come to accept that it just is what it is, and with no thought that it can be different. So fortunately for us, we had done one thing right, because we wouldn't be here today had we not. But we listened to one mentor that recommended that we essentially provide basic building department information, spin up web pages for each building department in the country, and then send it off to Google and see if it would gain some steam. And sure enough, 100% of our customers to this very day have found us through that method. We pay absolutely nothing for it. But what it has taught us is that our customer is actually a large corporation or a large regional contractor who values time in a different way. And that to pay a convenience fee of maybe $39, $49, $59, whatever it is, is worth it to get that permit that would otherwise take them an hour or two to drive one direction, maybe be able to get it the first time around, and then drive an hour or two back. So once we realized that was our value proposition, we lead with that now, and that's brought a fundamental change to our business.
So the average person sitting in their pajamas this morning, drinking coffee, looking out at whatever they are, they can go to PermitZone.com, right, and fill out, kind of register first, and then they can go right there and get a building permit.
Yeah, they can go online and apply for a building permit. I like to make sure that we stress that we essentially act on your behalf, what we would call maybe an agent of record. Some might refer to it as an expediter of sorts. But yeah, they can go to PermitZone.com. We just had a permit come in yesterday evening. Rebecca and I got done with a movie, and somewhere around, let's see here, 9:54 p.m. we had a permit come over from a masonry company. A guy, this is clearly somebody that was at home, an owner of a masonry company, actually pulled a permit for Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, for masonry work.
So we can be in Kalamazoo, or we can be in Phoenix.
We're doing solar permits. If we have one of the largest solar companies in the state of the state of California. We're getting all their permits for them. We have a sign company in Columbus, Ohio, that we're getting all their permits for them in other states.
Very
so
nice.
These contractors now have a chance to do work outside of their normal scope because they can trust that there's a third party and a method for being able to get one that they otherwise might have had to overbid to accommodate for that.
And for a lot of people, when I say a lot of people, I should say handyman or construction people, builders, things like that are trying to get those permits on a daily basis. For a lot of them, because we were in the same boat, because we need to pull permits, it's hard to break from the norm, and it's hard to trust
because
it's somebody else to go do that. But on the other hand, I don't do it, but other people in our office will go down and spend 1 hour to sometimes 2 or 3 hours sitting there waiting to get to go through the permit process.
Just waiting.
Archaic.
Right.
So, and here's the thing people don't realize, is that you're not just sending anyone. You're not sending a $10 an hour employee. You're actually sending somebody who knows what not to say. Right? Not to screw it up. Like, not that you're misleading, just that you don't create any confusion to the process.
Right. Well, that's what I tell everybody, especially the flippers out there, that are trying to look for money to flip a house. They got a great deal and they're trying to sell that deal, and they're not wholesalers because they want to flip the house, so they're out there trying to get money from the bank or whoever. And you got to know exactly what to say, what not to say, what words to use, and that's in negotiating. That's in anything. And so the time that it takes you to go down there, you could be doing a lot of other things. And race team, that's what they're good at. And let them do it. We always talk about on the show is, don't go to the cow farmer to raise pigs. So don't go down there and try to get your own permit. Let the professionals do it.
That's right.
You're in and out, and you go do something else, or maybe lay in bed a little bit longer. I don't know, whatever floats your boat.
Or maybe go get more business.
Exactly. So we're down to the last couple 2-3 minutes here, before we take our break and come back on with our next guest. And you're welcome to stay with us if you'd like. But where can people find you?
PermitZone.com.
I know where you are right now.
Myrtle Beach today. I'll be in Atlanta next week. I'll be in Oakland 2 weeks from then. So no, PermitZone.com is a safe place. We actually are operating out of the Waccamaw Shopping Center, the old Waccamaw Mall.
Across from the boathouse.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, we're across from there. Actually,
Clarion?
Across from the Clarion.
Clarion.
Through the help and support of the Grand Strand Tech Council, we've been able to have some safe space there and to grow our business to where we're not having high overhead costs.
And they can find you on Facebook, PermitZone?
Yeah, you can find us on Facebook. It needs to be an area where we're a little bit more active. But yeah, do engage us there. Twitter is one of our favorite. So if you're at Twitter, it would be @PermitZone, all one word. And if there's anything I can do to help, I'd love to.
Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to do a short break.
Yep.
And then we're going to come back with our overseas guest, Gemma. And we played her music 2 shows ago. Our single. And so we have a new announcement that we'll save for her.
Yes.
But hopefully Gemma's going to call in, or has she called in? She hasn't called in yet. So hopefully she'll call in before it's too late.
Thank you so much, Ray, for joining us today.
Yeah,
Thank you,
greatly
guys.
appreciate it.
Thank you.